WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. She considered herself blessed by the community that she served, but those who knew Lieutenant Tammy Prescott considered her a fighter. This morning, Prescott's battle with cancer ended. She passed away at Baptist Golden Triangle. In recent months, the Lowndes County Sheriff's Department and residents have hosted fundraisers to help with medical costs. Prescott was recently promoted to lieutenant from sergeant. She was a longtime volunteer at Camp Rising Sun and at various other organizations in the community. Prescott is being remembered as a woman of strong faith and a servant.
We'll miss the fact that we'll see her coming up and down the halls and, trying to witness to us and witness to some of the trustees and inmates that we have here. She was a Christian and a good law enforcement officer. I can't think of many people that loved her job as well as she did.
Prescott served in law enforcement for 23 years. She was 57 years old. Arrangements are incomplete. Law enforcement say the fatal shooting at a Shannon gas station yesterday shines a light on the importance of training for police officers. When 38-year-old Sahara Coggins was shot by 32-year-old Kentori Sims, a Shannon police officer who was on duty buying coffee, shot and killed Sims. Sergeant Eric Grisham, an instructor at the North Mississippi Law Enforcement Training Center, says police are trained to be ready for any situation, whether they're on or off the clock.
There's a protector mentality. The only thing that's ever really truly stopped a bad guy with a gun with bad intent to take human life is a good guy with a gun to protect human life and to be ready to answer that call when the time comes. In this profession, you have to expect the unexpected. Your world can change in a fraction of a second, and you rely on the training you've received throughout your career, and you have to call upon that training in that fraction of a second.
Grissom says officers try to de-escalate a situation when possible, but sometimes that's not an option. Time to turn things over to Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. He joins us with a first look at our forecast.
Well, Joey, it's been a great day. Our Alpha Insurance camera time lapse from downtown Tupelo shows a mostly sunny afternoon. Just a few wispy cirrus clouds in the sky this afternoon. The sun getting ready to set. Some of us already cooling down into the lower 80s, like Winona at 82, same story in Starkville. And it looks like after sunset, just after 7 o'clock, we are still around 80, upper 70s here. And then we'll cool down into the lower 70s by 9 o'clock. So it's going to be a great night for high school football. Lows tonight into the 60s. Your weekend forecast is coming up.
Debit, credit, Apple Pay, Venmo, Cash App, or maybe just plain old cash. When it comes to making a purchase, it seems like there are more options than necessary, but one thing you may be seeing less of, checks. Our own Cash Matlock has more on why business owners are choosing a newer payment method.
Out with the old and in with the new. Nicole Huff is the owner of Southern Flower Bakery in Columbus. She says she just recently stopped accepting checks.
About a year ago, and that was kind of the last straw for me. I just stopped.
That last straw being a bad check. Huff says she's seen more than her fair share of them in her 7 years of owning a bakery.
I've had people bounce checks for $5, $6, and they don't pay. And I could prosecute that, but I just don't want to go through it, and I just kind of mark it off. But if someone bounces a check, I have to go through so many times I have to call them, so many times I have to go down to the prosecutor, I have to fill paperwork out.
In fact, Citizens National Bank Regional Support Officer Shannon Shaw says a lot of people are choosing to no longer write or cash checks.
We do see a decline in actual checks being used because of all the apps to pay people and things like that.
Southern Flower uses a newer transaction system called Square.
The Square system processes all our payments, but we don't pay interchange fees, which is fees that regular credit card companies would actually charge to the business owner.
The system accepts things like Apple Pay, where customers can pay for items with just a tap of their phone or card.
There's something on the back of the check card, like your Visa card or whatever, where you can just tap that on there.
However, not everyone is sold on this new way of exchanging money.
They're not so sure of the apps where you send money through an app on your cell phone, and so I owe you money and so I'm just going to write you a check, or I'm going to tithe so I'll just write you a check, because some churches don't take online payments yet.
Even still, Huff says she sees fewer and fewer checks and, surprisingly, less cash as well.
Every day I can tell it's lower. People are just paying with their phones and their cards.
In Columbus, Cash Matlock, WCBI News.
Banking insiders say there are no signs of checks or cash disappearing anytime soon, but they wouldn't be surprised if things were vastly different within the next 10 years. A man who once helped propel the Ole Miss School of Journalism and New Media is moving his money. HottyToddy.com reports Ed Meek is redirecting his original $5.3 million endowment from the University of Mississippi to the Create Foundation. With interest, the total gift to the Tupelo organization is about $6.4 million. A university spokesperson confirmed the liquidation of the endowment to the online news organization. The School of Journalism and New Media removed Meek's name from the building after a controversial Facebook post last year. The Meeks will recommend how the funds will be used by Create, which must meet certain guidelines. Two gubernatorial candidates have accepted WCBI's offer to debate live in our studios, but with a stipulation. Lieutenant Governor Tate Reeves says he will come to WCBI's studio to discuss issues facing voters. Attorney General Jim Hood's campaign has accepted the debate contingent upon Reeves debating in two other events. The scheduled date for the debate is October 14th. Reeves, a Republican, has served 2 terms as state treasurer and lieutenant governor. Hood, the Democrat and Chickasaw County native, has served as state attorney general since 2003.
It's not a mansion in Wisconsin, but it is Stark Vegas. Come on out to the 20th annual Starkville Bulldog Bash.
Welcome back, everyone. It's a big weekend in Starkville. Mississippi State opens SEC play tomorrow, but tonight, music takes center stage. Bulldog Bash is cranking up, and Scott Martin is in the middle of all the action.
All right, just a moment ago, you probably saw me miss this cornhole, so we're going to try it one more time and see if we can get it in. All right, yeah, I call myself the cornhole master. I don't know. All right, so that's what you can do if you come to the 20th annual Bulldog Bash. It's already been a great night out here. This is my actually first Bulldog Bash, and I'm told that this is expected to be the biggest Bulldog Bash in Bash history. The stage back there behind me, yeah, that's where T-Pain's expected to perform at about 9:40 tonight. There's a lot of vendors, a lot of different booths, a lot of food. I've already scarfed down a hot dog, so it's already been a great time. Also, there's a lot of people out here. The weather is perfect, so come on out for the Bulldog Bash, the 20th annual. You don't want to miss it. Reporting in Starkville, Scott Martin, WCBI News.
Now, Bulldog fans are already flocking to Starkville this weekend, and a full stadium usually means an overflow crowd at hotels. Those fans have to stay and eat somewhere, and that can mean a business boom in the Golden Triangle. Our Riley Livingston takes a look at the preparations for the crowds.
This weekend, the city of Starkville is jam-packed with football fans and music lovers. Not only is it the first SEC home game for the Bulldogs, but it's also Bulldog Bash. That's causing some fans to spread the wealth across the Golden Triangle to West Point and Columbus.
We love home games in Starkville because they do come down this way. Usually they sell out in Starkville first, and then they come here, and then they'll spread out a little bit further once we sell out. So usually for all the home games, we are sold out just like Starkville.
This is a happy medium place for everybody. They love to come in and get a quick, good home-cooked meal. They gather with their friends and family before or sometimes after a great game.
Restaurants and hotels keep a close eye on area events and plan accordingly.
We prepare ahead of time for that because we keep up with the local events and the schedules. And of course, we have more waitresses, more cooks, and we just supply more too, so we'll have what's in demand.
It's a little bit of preparation as far as like making sure we've got enough food at the breakfast, make sure we're fully staffed at the desk, we have enough housekeepers. And to kind of get the team all ramped up, today we're having a tailgate party. That's why I'm wearing the referee shirt. We're having a tailgate party for the employees to kind of get them all pumped up for the game and for the Bulldog weekend.
And while non-conference games bring in the crowds, SEC games are the real money makers for everybody.
The SEC games, usually we sell out pretty quick. The non-conference games, it's just, you know, we'll sell out, but it may take us till the week of or the week before. I mean, we're already sold out for tonight, almost sold out tomorrow night.
Now, many businesses say they prefer a mid-afternoon start.
Some great weather for college games this weekend. We have some high clouds out there right now. You can see that with our Alpha Insurance Camera Network. Warm weather for the weekend and really warm for the rest of this month. We'll have the full forecast.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Well, friends, we have made it to the end of the work week. A lot of sunshine today, and we will stay warm all weekend long. This is the last weekend of summer. Enjoy it, soak it on up. But don't worry if you can't absorb it, because we will have plenty of more warm days ahead here, even as we get into the official fall season, which of course starts Monday. That was our time lapse from Durham's Pharmacy in Vernon. Live view at the junction in Starkville at MSG. You can see the tents are up. Game time tomorrow there in Starkville, Oxford, and Tuscaloosa. If you're going out to the games, sunscreen, sunglasses, hats, and water. The four things you will need yet again. Another very toasty college game day here locally here. We're going to forecast 89 degrees, mostly sunny and warm. Winds from the southeast at 5 to 15. So if you are into some shade, it won't be as bad as the last couple of weekends around here, where we had highs in the mid and upper 90s, but still pretty warm under that direct sunlight. Currently, we are in the mid to low 80s, the sun getting low on the western horizon, and the air is very dry. Low 60s for dew points here. Low 50s in Birmingham, 48 is where the number is in Atlanta. And the lower the number is, the drier the air is and the more comfortable it feels. And that's all because of this area of high pressure hanging out to our east, and that will actually keep backing up a little bit as we go throughout the course of the weekend. The showers and storms will stay off to our west, and it's still severe weather season. Look at that up there across the northern plains. We don't have to worry about that, although I think a lot of you would probably like to see some rain here. It's getting very, very dry, but we don't really have any rain in the forecast for the weekend. You can see with Futurecast some friendly clouds here during the day, and as we roll on into your Sunday too, no issues whatsoever. So enjoy it if you can. There will be a frontal boundary sneaking its way on into the region as we get into Monday and Tuesday. Not a lot of moisture is expected with that boundary. We're going to go with a 20% chance of rain Monday and Tuesday as that front comes on in, stalls out, or washes out. And then we'll have another big area of high pressure, a big heat dome build back into the region by the end of next week. So our temperatures will actually climb again as we get into fall, back into the low to maybe mid-90s again by this time next week. But this weekend's looking pretty good. Some great nights here if you're out late or up early. Not too bad. Fall begins officially Monday morning.
A heck of a week 5 on deck for the high school football season. Our biggest game of the week yet. 3 games to preview. We'll start here in West Lowndes coming up next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Tom EBLE is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Welcome here to the sidelines of West Lowndes High School Football Stadium. We're kicking off our trifecta Game of the Week coverage of Week 5 of the high school football season here at West Lowndes. The first time a Game of the Week has been in Panther Country since 2016. We've got a good one on deck in a loaded Region 2-1A matchup between West Lowndes and the Nanawaya Warriors. For West Lowndes, they're the only undefeated team remaining in this loaded region, and for Nanawaya, they haven't lost a division game since 2013. So it'll be interesting to see which one gives. I talked to head coach James Courtney of Nanawaya earlier. The tough loss for the Warriors. All-state linebacker and running back Shy Moore will miss this one for an ankle injury, so that's a tough loss for Nanawaya. So expect to see a lot of the Turner twins, Devin and Donovan, in this one. And West Lowndes, Quay Sanders, he's the man that makes the offense and defense tick. A lot of playmakers on the field as West Lowndes looks for a major upset here in Week 5, taking on the defending 1A state champions. But we got a lot of great games on deck, especially our trifecta. We're going to start with Courtney Robb. She's going to head over to the Boneyard with a preview of Calhoun City and Water Valley.
Tom, our second game of the week matchup features Calhoun City and Water Valley. The odds in this one seems to favor the Blue Devils a little bit more. Water Valley getting the win over Calhoun City last season. The difference, the Blue Devils were at home in Water Valley. Calhoun City, when you look 2 seasons ago playing the Blue Devils, they got the win here at home. The Blue Devils working off of some major momentum right now, currently 3-0 on the season. They had a bye week, and then last week they went to Bruce, got the win 48-0. That Blue Devil defense doing a great job this season as well at limiting points, only allowing 3 touchdowns so far this season. The Wildcats currently 2-2 on their season. Their last notable win came from Choctaw County a couple weeks back. Should be interesting to see if 2A or 3A comes out with the win tonight. Reporting here in Calhoun City, Courtney Robb, WCBI Sports. We'll send things over to Chris Bolton, who's in East Union, with more on their matchup to East Webster.
Thanks, Courtney. For our final game of the week, we have a battle of the East Side boys, as we have the 4-0 East Webster Wolverines taking on the 3-1 East Union Urchins. Now for the Wolverines, head coach Ron Price, he brings a very strong and gritty team into this matchup. They pride themselves on their defense and their running game, as they're averaging at least 200 yards rushing this season. So if you can't stop them from running the football, well, you're probably not going to stop them from winning the game. Now, as far as East Union is concerned, they have a more balanced attack. They're averaging at least 200 yards rushing and passing this season. And their sophomore quarterback, Ty Walton, he seemed to take the next step in his game. He's thrown for 13 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. So we'll see which play style wins out. Will East Webster continue the undefeated streak and become 5-0? Or East Union, take care of home field advantage and win on their turf? Find out tonight on the End Zone. But for now, Chris Bolton with WCBI Sports. I'm about to play some football myself until kickoff. Tom, back to you.
Man, Chris going to catch some pigskin. Great job by those two covering our other 2 trifecta game of the week. But we have some other great matchups around the area. West Point going to take on Wcbi County. Starkville on the road against Meridian. Houston trying to stay undefeated as well, taking on Eupora. It could go up and down the list. Moorville, New Albany, 2 special 4A teams to this point in the year. And then speaking of Region 2 1A, we talked about it with West Lowndes and Nanawaya. You got Noxapater and Okolona. Noxapater trying to maintain its stop as the #1 team in the past couple rankings here in 1A after its big win over Smithville. French Camp going to TCPS. Ton of great games. 20 highlights tonight on WCBI End Zone tonight. Make sure you tune in tonight at 10 on WCBI Sports. That's it for our coverage here at West Lowndes. Tom Ebel for WCBI Sports with the last year forecast coming up next.
Some warm weather here for the weekend, the last weekend of summer, but we are dry, so that is good news for any outdoor activity. And if you're up early or if you're out late after sunrise or before sunrise or after sunset, it will be pretty comfortable here. Warm next week with just a slight chance for a little bit of rain Monday and Tuesday.
A great looking forecast. All right, thank you, Keith, and thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Have a good night.